we're back to discuss Manchester by the Sea, and if you saw our review, we all liked it. It's hard to talk about without spoilers, because it has a couple of twist moments that it pulls out that are very effective and really color the rest of the movie. I think, you know, if you take all of that stuff away and you just have a movie that's about the relationship between the uncle and the nephew, it's the movie I expected in the trailer. But when you add that extra layer of how broken this guy is and why he's that broken and like he's justifiably that way, it all makes so much more sense, and that's what I mean, like how extra grounded everything is. It's like they don't have this, like, there's not the scene where Casey Affleck's character just breaks down and, gives this long speech or something like that and does something completely out of character. He's very emotionally distant, but at the same time, like, you can read what's going on with him.
Yeah. I think what I liked is that just because he was able to be the caretaker for his nephew, it didn't change his personality. He didn't become a brand new person or try to compensate for his loss that he had previously had in his life. And he wasn't revengeful. And he wasn't angry. I mean, like, that would have been really hard to face your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Like, for what happened. So I think he did really well with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, the scenes, I didn't understand where he was in the bar, the first bar scene where he got into the bar fight. I was just like, why did he do that? But then eventually you understand that he's, maybe that's the only way he feels.
He gets drunk and he picks fights. That's what he does when he's really, really low. He's really down.
The movie really threw me. I had no idea what this movie was about coming in other than Casey Affleck gets his dead brother's son. So I'm thinking through the first half of this movie, there was some sort of falling out between him and the brother, and that's why he's so distant.
Mm-hmm.
It completely threw me for a loop when you actually found out what was happening. But I loved the way that they did the movie flashbacks. Mm-hmm. They weren't, he's sitting there, then it goes and does the entire flashback and then cuts back. It kind of interspersed dialogue that was actually happening at that moment with the flashback. Because that always bothered me in movies, like, life is still happening while these people are staring off into nothing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting and kind of made it more emotional.
Well, it's the way the narrative's built is that it doesn't give you the information until it absolutely has to.
Yeah.
And if that's a flashback, that flashback can happen mid-scene and come back to the scene that you're watching. And then you kind of... And it doesn't, like... The movie's not pretending that he's experiencing that flashback in the same way that we are, because it's not a shock to him. It's just, it's explaining to us why he is acting the way he's acting in that particular moment. I thought they dealt with it. It's really impressive to me the way that they dealt with Gretchen Mall's character in so few scenes, but she's still such a huge presence in the movie. Mm-hmm. And the way they dealt with Michelle Williams' character as well, where, like, it would have been a lesser movie would have had them have lunch together and, have that
reconnection.
Not necessarily even a reconnection, but have her just apologize and have him just sort of be, like...
healed.
Well, not even, like, healed necessarily, but just sort of, like, better, or, like, like emotionally attached to what's going on. Like, if this movie had Tom Hanks instead of Casey Affleck, like, you could see like him like with one, like a single tear, and you know,
Yeah.
and they move on to the next scene. But in this, it's her trying to deal with her guilt, and he's just like, I don't hold any of it against you, but I can't, like, and what he says is, there's nothing here. There's no.
Yeah.
Two standout scenes to me. Well, actually, three. The flashback in the lawyer's office, where you actually get filled in on why he is so broken. Then the scene where he tells the boy that I can't beat it. That was brutal.
Yeah.
I there was so much emotion in that scene, and just that one line of dialogue.
Well, and they intersperse throughout the movie too, like, all of the characters are like, any character that hears his name is sort of like, really, that guy? Like, they all know his story and like what happened to him. And when he first goes to pick up Patrick from hockey practice, like the first time they actually get together, and Tate Donovan's the coach, and he like goes over and he's talking to the kids for a minute, and they say something about, you know that's all bullshit, right? Like that, but it's not. Like, he's like a legend in that town. So it's like, even if he personally could get to a place where he wasn't, thinking about it all day, or actively punishing himself, he couldn't live in that town. There's no way that he's going to live in that town. And I think the best he can do is say, I want to try and get a place with an extra room so that you can come visit me. Because that's real, like, that's the limit of what I can offer.
Yeah. I really liked I thought that he was going to be like a myth, a legend, or like he's famous, or he did such and such, and he went to college and he took his, I thought that he was that type of person.
Yes, I mean, as soon as they showed that he had kids, I was like, okay, the kids are going to die somehow. And I thought, with how weird they were about cars, I thought it was going to be some sort of a car accident or something.
Yeah.
And even that, I think, was done the way that they killed off the kids. I thought was really, really well done. Where the impact is there, like, you have all the impact of it, but it's not trite and it's not overwrought. It's like, he comes home, he's been drinking, his house is a complete and utter loss, and only his wife got out alive. Like, and it's just done and done. Like,
they do come
they don't
back
need to
it.
like pull it and make it longer than it has to be.
They do come back and like punch you in the gut there, when he falls asleep and the daughter wakes him up and asks if like he saw them burning or something like that, and I was just like, whoa, that is brutal.
Yeah, she says, "Are we burning?" And he says, "No, you're not burning."
Ugh, that was a harsh scene.
Yeah,
It hits you in the feels.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very emotional movie. I mean, not only do you see that he's a broken man, and the way he feels is through pain, and or starting arguments or fights with somebody, but I mean, he's only there to be the legal guardian to his nephew, and that's all he wants. Like, he's not trying to give him advice.
well, that's not really even what he wants. Like, he
doesn't want any of it at all.
it's inflicted on him, and he's trying to, like, he has a sense of what's right, and he's trying to figure out how to
go about it.
how to equivocate what's right and what he can handle. Because all things being equal, like, I get to live in my rich brother's house and have control of my rich brother's estate, until my nephew grows up, and all of that. And meanwhile, my nephew is like
Has two girlfriends.
is more interested in his two girlfriends than anything else that's going on. So,
Which I thought was funny. I was waiting for him to be like, hey, let's treat women with respect. We're not going to do that. You need to pick and choose which one. And he was just like, he said nothing. And I was just like...
he did, though. But and that's the interesting thing. It's like...
He just wouldn't let the other one come over.
Well, no, he it's interesting, because, like, like you were saying, like, you were saying before there wasn't a lot of dialogue. There is a lot of dialogue, but it's not direct. He kind of gets to know both of the girls a little bit. And he kind of makes a decision like, if you want to see that girl, go to her house. She's not good.
Yeah, they definitely.
I guess it's guy code.
Well,
Yeah, I mean it's
Like passively not saying something, but not, I guess.
it's I don't want to be involved, but here's what you need to do.
Okay.
He was trying to stay disconnected, but he was also showing genuine, concern.
and like he wasn't gonna like overstep or like try and help with Sylvie. Like he wasn't gonna like sit there and like charm the mom.
Yeah.
And all that. But again, it wasn't him. I don't know. It wasn't him like being out of it or not caring what happened there. I think it was more of like he does kind of get to know these people, and he's like, I'm not telling you what to do, but I don't want you to bring this girl over that, like, the overwritten version of it would be like, I don't want you to bring that girl over who told me not to have a phone call
At the kitchen table.
at
in
the
my
kitchen
house.
table that I was at before she got there. Like, and she's kind of like, and the movie sort of makes her like kind of the worst. Like, but at the end of the day, they're all just teenagers, and it's not really that big of a deal. And they don't make the whole, like, that could have been a whole plot point, like, which of the girls is he going to end up with? And it's like, no, it's really not.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not important. It wasn't
he's
important for this story.
seeing two girls because he can, and they're all ridiculous, and it's fine.
Teenagers.
Yeah, it's fine. And it ends abruptly.
But on kind of a hopeful note.
Well, it ends basically once he's figured out
What he's gonna do.
what his limit is and what he's going to do. Like, and that's an interesting way to do it. There's a lot of scenes where I kept expecting them to develop things more, and then they just have the character say, do we have to talk about this right now? And then it would just move on to something else. It's like, that's really interesting, because like so much of this is in his head, so much of this is internal, that like if they weren't pulling off the rest of the story well enough, or if he wasn't as good of an actor, this movie would just not work.
Casey Affleck just absolutely tore it down. He was so expressive in his grief that you really got the torment that this guy was in.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that he didn't make him go.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't the part of the story to force him to leave his school and to leave everything and then have the argument that they would have had he have moved him to someplace new.
Yeah.
I like that he still had his intentions, How can I make this good for you? How can I, keep things semi-normal within your life? So that was really nice.
The musical choices, I thought, were like all over the place. I was really happy at the beginning of the movie that they weren't just like playing a song to be playing a song, to like just be kind of jumping you into the movie. And then they had that like weird blues version of Oklahoma. Like the guy's like singing this like weird long blues version of, you know, Oh What a Beautiful Day from Oklahoma. And then there's this really bad like sequence where they're walking around and there's just this loud grating organ playing. That's like, man, I really hope they don't do this through the rest of the movie. And then it like finally backed off and it was fine after that. But
Yeah,
there were a couple of choices that were just like, why are you doing that?
make us feel the torment that he's feeling.
Yeah,
Got your emotions.
make it stop.
It's an emotional movie. Forget the feels.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
I'd recommend
Go
it.
see it.
Yep.
Check it out. Check it out.
Well, if you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all of the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.